It's over. The group of bear-like children are coming on a spring outing again. A sharp scream rang through the spirit prairie. Many small animals who were eating and moving pricked their ears and showed a look of horror. The next moment, they screamed, threw away the things in their hands as quickly as possible and fled. Mr. Rabbit jumped anxiously before he remembered something and looked at the ground. Sharp claws dug at the dirt and created a tunnel. As the group of bear-like children swarmed, Mr. Rabbit rushed into the tunnel at the last second and fled into the ground. The little girl with 2 ponytails and a mosaic over her face made a disappointed sound. The braised rabbit meat is gone. Dozens of children happily approached. Some of them were holding longbows while others were holding daggers. Some people shoveled at the turf while others cut at the trees. Everyone had a good time, and after a few minutes, the beautiful grassland was changed into a bare appearance. Mosaic held the big match and smiled. She sneaked away from her teacher and classmates and came to the other side of the river. She lit a match and set a blazing fire. Roasted chicken, roasted bird is also very delicious. On the other side, Mr. Rabbit wiped the sweat on his forehead and hurried towards the Queen of Hearts gem castle. Then at the door, the rabbit's cheeks turned red. He looked shyly at the door in front of him and twisted around several times. Finally, he couldn't muster the courage to knock on the door. Mr. Rabbit was very uncomfortable. He wanted to greet the Queen of Hearts, but he didn't have the courage. This was the most distinguished Queen of Hearts. Civilians like him weren't eligible to see her. The White Rabbit turned away and left. He didn't know that a blue clock at the top of the gem castle was silently watching his actions. The joy of Mr. Rabbit when he arrived at the castle's gates and the loss of the departure were all seen. The blue clock ticked away, every second completely accurate. It was the benchmark of all clocks in the Black Tower world. It was indifferently watching the rabbit leave the gem castle when the door of the attic was suddenly pushed open. A red-haired loli angrily came in and shouted at the truth clock, "Boring, boring, I'm bored to death." The truth clock silently watched the Queen of Hearts. "There's nothing interesting about you. You damn clock, I ask you questions but you won't answer. You are a fake." The truth clock replied in a calm female voice. "I'm not Snow White's mirror. My duty has never been to answer anyone's questions." "That what is your duty?" "My duty is to see everything that exists in this world and recognize the truth of everything." The Queen of Hearts punched the truth clock but only created ripples, like she had hit water. The ripples ended and the truth clock recovered its original appearance. The red-haired loli raised his arms and said coldly, "You piece of crap, you are worse than Santa's gold toilet. I heard him say that his toilet is warm and can cure constipation. As long as he sits on it, any poop can be pulled out. Unlike you. I can only place you in the attic to gather dust. The toilet has no way of seeing everything that exists in this world. Why would I want to see those sorts of things? For example, I just saw a rabbit run to the gate of the castle only to walk away." The Queen of Hearts was startled and knew who the truth clock was talking about. "Ah, you mean that stupid rabbit who always comes here to sneak a peek at me?" The truth clock didn't answer. The Queen of Hearts spoke to herself, "He hasn't been here for a long time. Why did he suddenly come?" The truth clock reminded her. "He came from the Spirit Prairie." "The Spirit Prairie?" The red-haired loli was surprised. "Why did he come from the Spirit Prairie? Wait, this season, can it be that Mosaic School organized another spring outing? Ah, my roast meat." Her eyes widened and the red-haired loli gulped excitedly as she ran out of the room at the fastest speed. She clearly found something that wasn't boring. Peace was soon restored to the narrow and cramped attic. No one knew how much time passed before a clear voice was heard. It was a boy's voice and was sharp and high like a child. He spoke with this childlike voice, "If I knew that I would be placed in such a place after returning to your back, I would have stayed in that world. I would never meet someone like you." The calm female voice replied, "You are always on my back, this is the truth." The child's voice suddenly rose, like he was caught by the neck. "Fallacies are fallacies. I don't want to be with you. You are fine since you are facing the outside. I am on your back and have to face a dark wall. The wall is dusty, black and dirty." "Black and dirty?" The truth clock replied, "You aren't blackened by any dust." The fallacy compass cried out, "However, they make my eyes hurt." "You don't have eyes. I said that everything is a fallacy." Every word spoken by the truth clock was true. "The sentence you just said is a fallacy." The little boy yelled angrily. His voice was sharp enough to shatter glass, but the magic meant his voice was completely trapped in the attic, no leaking outside. The abandoned furniture in the attic were shattered by his voice. Once he stopped, the truth clock spoke coldly, "Once the Queen of Hearts comes back, she will know of your existence." The fallacy compass, "I knew that I should have stayed by that woman's side and not come back." The compass just finished speaking when the truth clock reminded him, "The returnee Muhuxu is dead. You can no longer return to her side. This is a fallacy." The fallacy compass, the compass was mad. He ignored the truth clock. The fallacy compass remembered the days when it was kidnapped by a human. Yes, it was kidnapped. It never wanted to talk to the truth clock. It was too boring to be thrown in the attic of the Queen of Hearts and started to recall his experiences with humans. The moment the Earth went online, the truth clock started to observe the Earth and the Black Tower world. The fallacy compass had no eyes, but it was on the back of the truth clock and could see everything that the truth clock saw. Humans were divided into Earth survivors and returnees. Similarly, after the Earth went online, the truth clock was separated from the fallacy compass. One was in the game world of the survivors and the other was in the game world of the returnees. At that time, there was no name for the returnees. They were just 6 billion unlucky humans. The first person to find the fallacy compass was an Indian. The man was injured and almost dead, but he passed through all the monsters in the steel forest to find the compass hidden in the deepest part of the forest. He was the first human to do this. He excitedly thought he had received a rare prop. The fallacy compass saw him and said bluntly, "Congratulations on triggering the time leaderboard." Then the compass disappeared. Thus, the time leaderboard was opened. This was the first human that the fallacy compass saw. Later, he saw from the truth clock's eyes that this human died a month later. The second human he saw successfully kidnapped him. The fallacy compass said, "That human's ability seems suitable for you. She should have kidnapped you as her prop. The existence is reasonable ability." The truth clock rarely asked a question, but it soon replied to itself, "This sentence is a false proposition, not a truth." The fallacy compass suddenly said, "Thus, she used a fallacy to deny my fallacy." The truth clock was silent for a moment. Then it said, "The existence of truth can't be denied. The only thing that can deny fallacy is truth. That human's ability isn't a complete fallacy, it is just a false proposition. Once she uses this ability and succeeds, it means the ability she is affirming has become the truth. That's why the second functional limitation of that ability is so great. No one can be sure of success, like the infinite non-probability pocket watch." Guangzhou, China. On the open and straight streets, many people were busy with the rebuilding of the city. The city was shaken by the previous battle between humans and Black Tower bosses. Due to the deadline, most of the city was wiped out by the Black Tower and all the buildings collapsed. Everyone worked quickly on the devastated land. Sometimes when they met someone else, they would subconsciously raise their weapon in a wary manner. Then they were stunned and put away their weapons, but their vigilant mood wasn't completely gone. In a short period of time, they couldn't start trusting others again and return to what it was like before the earth went online. Beside the Pearl River, a black-haired man in a white shirt frowned. He looked down at the pocket watch in his hand and kept trying to move the pointer. Tang Mo moved the pointer only for it to go back to its original spot. On the other side, Fu Wenduo's hands were in his pocket as he calmly followed Tang Mo. The two of them walked one after another. 5 minutes later, Tang Mo put away the infinite non-probability pocket watch and turned back. "It is useless.